second.
Thank you. Okay. All right, I'm here.
All right, Sister Shaw, you called in on the wrong line, sister.
Oh, I
I
thought.
can keep you there if you like.
Yeah, me, Dr. Claud, and JD is on that line. Everybody else is calling in on the other line.
No, I got you. You call in on the 417-7552 line.
Can the other people also call on this line?
I got everybody on the same line. If you want it like that, you're good. But I thought
Okay,
you were
let's put
calling in
it
on 730 number.
No.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
you ready to go?
it's one big party. Okay, here we go.
All right, hold on. I'm going to put you on in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Welcome, everyone, to Sister Speak. We have a wonderful program for you today. Want to let you know this is where we discuss economics, we discuss community, and we discuss empowerment. Today we have a very special guest, Dr. Claud Anderson. Most people know him. He actually doesn't even really need an introduction. Yeah, I don't know. Are you there? So what I'd like to do is to also, we've got company, family. We've got other members of our community returning to the show. We've got P. Ray out of Chicago listening in at 1690 WVON. We have Chef C from Bloodline Films, chef, filmmaker, activist, handling his Bloodline business. We've got Juan Johnson of Long Wolf Firearms, and we may or may not have, he's going to try to come in. He's doing services because he's actually also a reference. Dr. Short, who's an influencer, PhD, and member and head and president of the Angry Black Men's Book Club. And of course, our beloved co-pilot, JD, who is president of her own business, which we don't talk about, which is Jazz Body Products, and her son, who we are going to be promoting, Livco, who's a Black-owned brewery, meaning beer, brewery business here in the District of Columbia. But without further ado, I don't want to waste any time because every minute is precious when it comes to our beloved Dr. Claud Anderson. So I want to get right on in, and hopefully he's pulled into the line. Dr. Anderson, are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Oh, how you doing? Happy New Year.
Well, Happy New Year to you. And I wish you more happiness and a lot of money to go along with it.
Oh, man, well, that's what you call happy.
Yeah.
Well, listen, first of all, thank you so much, and the whole Welcoming family. And I just like to let everybody know how Dr. Anderson reaches back. He reaches back to all of the people, and he always gives his time to people who are important or big-time superstars and potentially, non-important, depending on how you. But he always comes back to the family, and that's what Sankofa radio show is all about. I want to remind everybody, go to WSYP951.com, hit that donate button, because right now Dr. Anderson is actively participating in Sankofa. I want to get straight in. Dr. A, all this stuff. I know you've been watching what's been going on with the open borders. So I want to start off, and we have a few more questions, but I want you to generally vent and give us your open thoughts on what's going on with this border.
Okay, let me start off by simply saying good evening and afternoon to everybody out there who's listening. And I'm hopeful that I'll be able to make some future comments about some of these issues, but as I grow older, my agent keeps telling me, do the best you can today. There might not be no tomorrow. So you better listen carefully to me, what I'm going to be saying to you today, because I'm just as serious as cancer. And now, in terms of the border is exactly what it was supposed to be way back when they first initiated the 1789 treaty and the Constitution for the United States. What it was saying at that point in time was that this was a free country, not for black folk. It was a free country for what? And they waited a whole year to define it for who they're going to make it out for. So 1 year later, in 1790, about on the 1789 treaty and the Constitution, they came out and said, the first thing, this is a nation that is strictly for the descendants of European whites. This is a white nation, and has stayed so for all up to this time. It has never changed, which means we got a priority on accepting anything that could pass for, look for, try to be a white person can come in this country anytime he wanted to. The borders of this country is wide open for white Europeans. And at that time they would call themselves anything from we're coming here for because we're looking for opportunities for practice our religion in the country. We're coming here to be anything. But what they were really coming here for was two things. They were coming to this country for what we call enhancement, economic enhancement. Mm-hmm. The enhancement, first of all, was to get free land. All those Europeans started pouring into this country at the behest of George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and the rest of them. They were bringing in whites strictly to enhance for white life anywhere in the world. So the whites could come in this country with a swinging door. They didn't have to go through the qualifying factors to be American citizens. All they had to do was get close to the country or touch the land, and they were called citizens. And that would make them eligible for anything in this country. That was the first law passed by the United States Congress after the Constitution was structured in 1789. In 1990, in 1790, the next thing they did was say this is a country for white people, period. Now, and what they didn't go any further in saying was that, these white people are coming here to be freeloaders. Freeloaders, and the black folk never used that word. They came here to freeload. They weren't rich people coming here looking for an education. A few came here initially talking about, we're going to practice our religion. That's what we're here for. That lasted about 2 or 3 years. They got off of that horse. And so I said, no, we're not coming here for religious opportunities. We're coming here to get rich and get wealth and power. That's what they were coming here for. And so, second point was they said, well, we can't build that country because that country is wide open. And so Andrew Jackson came on into the newspapers and said, yes, it is. It is free land for white folks and white folks only, and not anything other than that. But they said, but we have to have something to help us put some value on this land. Land by itself is almost useless. It's worth only pennies. And they said, what are we gonna do? And they said, let's bring in some people of going back in history. Who can we get to enslave? They tried to do it with Indians. Indians were too weak, and since this was their homeland, those people just wouldn't work out. And so we left from that, and so they said we're gonna start catching some people in the place and bring them here. And you go all the way back now, and here's where racism started, and where the whole concept spread it. Now I hear all these people talk about race this, race that, racism. I have not heard one white or black tell me what racism is. They have no idea, but they run their mouths pretending they know. They don't know. Racism really started way back at about 1445. It started when Henry the Navigator picked up 16 blacks around the coast. He was out there fishing, but he picked up 16 blacks, and it put them on his boat and took them back to Europe. Now, up to that time, Europeans stayed only in Europe. They didn't know what was beyond the ocean, beyond large bodies of water. They didn't know what was over there. And they only had one fine line that separated all those whites. One line, it would be they can be Polish, another cross that line, they could be Greek, cross that line, they could be Spanish. They had all those lines where they spent their time fighting all the ways. The Italians and the Romans and all of them going from across one line to the other, kill each other as gladiators. And so they said, we don't, but let's look at those black people they brought here. And they brought those 16 blacks here, and they took them into Italy and gave them to the Pope, gave them to the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church has always been known for the major employers of slaves on the earth. They started it. They've been using it now ever since way back to almost immediately after the gladiators and the death of Christ back in about the 3rd and 4th century. They then started. The Catholics are always major slave owners and travelers, and so they gave them to the Pope, and the Pope used them around the manifestations of a civilization in Rome for about 40 years, so let's see about this.
Yeah, I think Dr. Claud, I think they did they actually solidified that with what they call that papal bull, the papal bull. They solidified it.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And I'm gonna try to cut some of this long speech down, which is put back in. Anything I skip over, y'all pick it up for me. And
look, I got you on the timer. I'm about to stop you in 1 minute, and then we're gonna bring a question. So go ahead.
Okay. Jesus Christ. Okay. So Pope Innocent came out in about 40 years later, about 1488, and he made a public edict, and publicly says, we've had these black people around the Catholic centers and in the church. We use them as guards. We use them as slaves. We use them as practitioners and taking care of the weak and the homeless and the less fortunate people. And I think it would be good if we could try to use them for future slaves. And so that word went out about 1488. Then let's go jump right quick to about 5 years later, to about 1492. At that point in time, Columbus was over there, discovered America. And I don't know how you discovered land. It's been there for ever since God created it. But anyway, they gave Columbus credit for having discovered the Americas. And he got there, and he saw a few people over there with a lot of land, and nobody was owning and claiming ownership to it. He took a couple of them back with him to Italy, and presented them to Italy to the overclass over there, which was the king and the queens, and said, "Here's what I found. I found a lot of open land and these people, and that is what could solve one of our major problems." And what was the major problem at that time? Europe was going through tough times. They were being overrun by crime and famine, diseases, food shortages, and everything. And the entire European continent was going down the toilet. Nothing was moving. And they said, what we can do now is if we switch away from mercantilism, and I just came up with an idea. Why don't we move to something that's a little more profitable for us as Europeans? And what I'm coming with this idea is let's practice, we'll call it capitalism. That means capitalism means only control some land and the tools and the weapons and use other people's labor to enrich yourselves. That's called capitalism. So they started that. And they say, well, if that's going to start, well, who's going to own it? At that particular time, in about 1502 or 1503, all the about seven European nations got into a contest. It was like a race. And the Germans, the Spanish, the British, everybody said, let's try to go around the world, see if we can find that land. And maybe we can do something with that land, own the land, and become power of the space. And so it started, and so 7 or 8 nations started a race, R-A-C-E. That's where that word came from.
Okay. All right.
That's where the word race came from.
Okay, so let me go ahead. It came from 7 nations colluding and confederacy to find that land, and that land happened to be pretty much North South America and the Caribbean. So let's get to our question. I got you on a timer because everybody loves you. Everybody want to talk. So I want to call in if they are on the line. I want to call P. Ray from Chicago. She's out there in Chicago where the immigrants are really impacting her community. Area code 312. P. Ray, are you there with your question?
Yes, I am. How y'all doing this afternoon?
Good afternoon. You on the line? Yes, we can. You're on the line with Dr. Claud.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anderson. Thank you so much for the work and diligent effort that you've put forth to bring our people up to speed. Thank you so much.
I love you. Go ahead and ask the question.
Yes, sir. My question is, as it stands right now in the city of Chicago, Black Chicago is saying that we are not on board with what the government is doing as far as it goes with this illegal immigration and how they're using our tax dollars to fund them. We tried to fight back against them via the legislature with a referendum. The city council denied us the right to vote in that referendum. So we don't have that political option on the table anymore. What do you suggest that we do in Chicago, aside from, burn the city down? But what can we do that's tangible and legal to help ourselves kind of get out of the predicament that we're currently in?
But I have a whole list of things, about 25 things I would tell you to do. First of all, we have never done the things we should have been doing. We have been exercising every equal to whites. Being equal to whites is a negative. That's a down. And what we need to do is start being more concerned about our self-interest and start practicing group self-interest. And once we start that, develop a code of conduct that tell you how you must behave, or otherwise get exempted from the tribe or from the community. And that's why right now all these blacks are trying to move in Chicago, but they move into white neighborhoods and try to go and allowing their money to get white clean out of their neighborhoods. And so we're not practicing group economics. We're not practicing group economics because based on a community, because we don't have any communities. You do not have any communities. Chicago has never had a community. Whereas what Chicago has is neighborhoods. I come over there and count, I don't know how many different neighborhoods where blacks are living, but they're mixed all up. We are the only people on earth that want to integrate, and integration is a negative. Do not keep trying to integrate with whites and other groups. We do not have independent organizations or independent communities. We have communities where you store your wealth, your power, your history, your money, your currency, and your power is based to be in a community. Where are the communities in Chicago? You don't have any. And when you start splitting these places up, you make sure that that we are, let me see, somebody's passing me something.
Yeah, Dr. Claud, I think we have communities, but the problem is, let me interject for and continue to answer the question, but let me add value to what he's saying. We do have communities, but where we drop the ball, we don't own nothing. So that's why ownership is important. That's why you saw that news story that came out, that white business owner who owned a building and moved in with the quickness and the snap of a New York minute, 500 immigrants smack dab in the middle of a Chicago community. Then he announced that he owned 15 more buildings. So part of our preliminary work, and it's so complicated. But we should have been advocated for ownership, because once you own something, you can move and control it. And when we're property around us, because we sat around in all these churches in all these cities, and all those churches were in urban cities, which is prime real estate now. But the churches did not have the wherewithal, and they did not have the vision to buy up all that property around them. So we have really, through a lot of different things, got ourselves out of order. But go ahead, Dr. Claud, finish up with P. Ray's question, and then we're going to go to the next question.
Okay, and let me jump back real fast on it, Terry. First, again, I appreciate your response, and unfortunately, I'm going to have to disagree with you. We do not have in the communities. What we have are those are what we call neighborhoods, communities where you store your wealth, your power, your resources, and it's controlled by those people, and other people can penetrate. And when I go out to a Jewish community, it's all Jews. I go to Chinatown, it's going to be Chinese in there. When I go to it's going to be Italians in there. We have Greek towns, Polish towns, hockey towns, Cork towns, all over America. But we do not have a black town where black folks only control everything from the resources coming there being sold, and for the products that are being produced are labeled. That's why Chinese ways were so effective back in the earliest 1800s when they came here. And because they control their neighborhoods. You haven't seen any black stores and businesses in Chinatown. They don't let you go there. They come here 2 or 3 times in Washington, D.C. and try to start businesses. And I had the Chinese come to me and tell me, Dr. Anderson, we do not buy from other people. Only you black folks will buy and let anybody come into your neighborhood and buy what set up what they want and take your money out. Your money should bounce 7 to 8 times in the hands of your own people without leaving your community. Before it ever leaves, white money bounces 7 to 8 times. Hispanic money bounces 8 to 9 times. Right now, African money does not bounce once. Jewish money bounces 18 times. We spend our money in any store we want to go into. We do not mark that money and suggest it to you about 50 years ago when I first started and put a check mark on it. Check mark on it. Do not put it in the hands of anybody other than a black person. I want that money to go round and round. And that way you have a sufficient amount of money. Right now we have about a $1.3 trillion worth of income a year. If you were to make that money circulate 7 or 8 times, look what you would have then. You would have something, you'd be talking about 10 or 20 or 12 $trillion worth of money floating in your community. But you spend every dollar you can get your hands on in a business that's not owned by a black. The buildings are not owned by blacks. You should be owning and controlling, dominate and own and control everything inside your community. And you set up laws and policies about if you want to discriminate, that's your community, discriminate. But you make sure you control and own everything in it.
Okay, I got you on the clock. I got to thank you for that correction. There is a difference, and let me just clear that. There is a difference between a neighborhood and a community. That's why they call it what? The quote-unquote hood. But I think I was speaking towards elevating ourselves from the hood to a community status, and that is going to be ownership 100%. The next person is we have our Chef C. He's a renowned chef out of Philadelphia. If he's on the line with his question, he's handling the Bloodline business with Bloodline Films TV, area code 646. Are you available? Chef C, are you there?
Peace to the family, Sister Sean, Dr. Claud Anderson, the Honorable Sir. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you this afternoon. Sir, in 2000, I witnessed one of your conversations, and you said in 2019, to be more specific, okay? You said black people no longer think that the white man's ice is colder; they believe it's smoother. Is that the current state and mindset of Black America today?
Well, to tell you the truth, I was being halfway, being a little bit comical about that, but it was an actual fact that occurred down in Tallahassee, Florida. when I was over trying to get a black community started by asking blacks to relocate into a specific black area, because that time the only major businesses in Tallahassee, Florida, that's the capital of the state of Florida, were only two. One was a barber shop they had in there, and they had a barber shop, and they had a little bar, a club downtown. But I told them it was this. I said, now that we got the new census in here, it comes in every 10 years. Let's start with that as an example. And I said, I could give black folks liquor license. I said, where are the blacks liquor license? Not one black had a liquor license. I said, I'll tell you what. I said, I'm going to take 19% of all the liquor licenses that come into this state. I'm going to make sure that blacks get 19 of them, because that way they don't have any bars around there. And so I gave them, I told them, I said, take a liquor license, it's worth $50,000 cash. I'm going to hold them in my drawer in the state of Florida. And I said, I'm going to send blacks out all over the state and give them a liquor license where they can put up bars and nightclubs, anything else they wanted. And that's exactly what I did. I sent blacks all over the state. And I said, you just go and find me a space that is more than 800 feet away from a church or a school, another bar, and I'll give you a $50,000 liquor license free. And I got about 2 or 3 of them, got them up quickly and did it. Same thing in Tallahassee when they were trying to say, well, how should we spend our money? I should make sure that you mark your money, as I just told you. You spend it only in the black community. If there's no black stores there, build some. Build some. Quit buying from other people. Then wonder why white folks got all these big, beautiful homes outside the suburbs. And they sure got all the pretty houses out there. Why do they get the money from it? Just getting it out of your pocket. For every dollar you spend outside your own community, you lose $11, because you should make it bounce up to 12 times if necessary, and get like Jews and 18 times. Don't spend your money on anything. Get it. If we don't have it, make it. And that's why I built a seafood factory up in Maryland, and I was raising over 9 million pounds of clean fish in factories I built up there. And I put I put about almost $19 million into that. And I became the biggest seafood producer in the United States, inside, not in the water, outside, where the bugs and all kind of animals can cut into the fish and be inside as worms. This was in clean, pure water in business. I had 45,000 square feet factories up there that again raised clean fish. And I told black folks, I'll fix it so you can start black red lobster instead of red lobster. I'm gonna have you start the black lobster restaurant. That time, William Otis was owning one in the red lobster restaurant. He cut a deal and told his people, buy fish from Anderson, and get clean fish. But guess what? After a while, they got into an argument. They went against him, and he just quit. And when he quit, whites took over the red lobster. They also own all these other businesses in addition to the red lobsters. So that's what happened to that. That's why we didn't have the red lobster, black lobster. We don't have black lobster restaurant. And so, but by that time, I put in all together, I guess maybe about $19 million. But I lost a lot of money in that because black folk weren't buying the fish.
Yes, and Dr. Claud, let me just emphasize that. I think what he's saying is that when the investment is there, and it's not just Dr. Claud's story, I hear this multiple times. Like, when you open up the business, you got to support it. We just can't be sitting up here talking about we want business, and people go through all of the wherewithal and the money. It really is like we in a Shark Tank trying to get this money. So you get the money to open up the business, and nobody comes. And I remember a very distinct story that hurt my heart. It was a sister, we like to do these fingernails and things. And then there was like a Korean or, I don't know, Asian, like right next door. And they were like in close proximity to one another. And she said it would hurt me because we opened up. And she said all the black women still went to the Asians. And that's a problem. That is a behavioral problem. That is what Dr. A, I believe, is trying to say. We've got some behavioral problems to deal with. So let me get to the next question. I got you on the timer. We have loan firearms.
Let me correct something real quick. I am from Dr. Claud Anderson. I'm from New Jersey, representing New Jersey, sir.
Oh, yeah. I said Philadelphia.
That's right.
You know
I
what?
want to thank you for your comments and your remarks, sir. We appreciate your teaching, and I'll see you down the road.
On the next one. Yes, definitely. Thank you for that correction, Sheffy. I'm going to tell you, I had you in mind with, I don't know, you just getting too close to me now. I had you all up in my mind with my brother Ralph Goldsberg from Philly, my rider, and so I mixed you up. So Ralph is from Philly, but Chef C, Bloodline Business, filmmaker, activist, Bloodline Films TV, out of New Jersey. Thank you. Thank you. I want to make that double clear. That's my new bloodline, my bloodline baby. So the next person is Juan Johnson, area code 249, Lone Wolf Firearms, and he has a wonderful question here. Come on in. Are you there, Juan? Juan Johnson, area code 249.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're on with Dr. Claud.
First of all, thank you, Dr. Claud Anderson, for taking time out your day to give us some of your time. We do appreciate you. We honor you as an elder, as a Baba, and I say thank you for your contribution. You have been truly a lone wolf for years, and I appreciate you. My question to you is this: I've read the book, sir, and my question is, I saw that defense and security wasn't mentioned. Were you going to do that? Were you going to incorporate that in a later book? Because you talk about building infrastructure as part of 6 with housing and police, but I did not see nothing about security and defense for us.
Okay, and Sir Sean, we will specific for him to act and rephrase the quote, make sure I can.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you can hear me. Let me rephrase the question. The question was, in the Powernomics, he's read your Powernomics books and your catalog of books, but in that reading, he noticed that security, like security for our people, and when we say security, we mean like physical security, like with guns. And have you ever contemplated how that should be a part of our Powernomics business model? Because we have to be safe and secure, because what we understand, these people are Confederate against us. These people are raising arms and everything, and we don't have, what's the, remind me, what is the, we used to have like the deacons of defense and all that. So the question was, have you ever pontificated or thought about putting a security piece as part of our Powernomics goals and platforms? That's the question.
Oh, certainly. I most certainly did. That was one of the first things I did, again, as a Marine. And the Marine Corps, and having the unique experience of having been through 3 different wars. And seeing as an aviator, I'm a pilot, and fighting in South Korea, and then again in North Korea, and then going aboard a ship that wants to being shipped down to Taiwan for the possibility of an invasion there, and for my ship wants to stay on the coast because the war between China and Taiwan did not break. And so my military experience has been pretty unique. And I told black folks that what's happening, you need to sort of organize your community. You can't organize a neighborhood, organize that community, and the first thing you do is get somebody other than the NAACP and Urban League to start sort of organizing people and assigning responsibilities for them, each one. In every community, you should have at least one person designated to know where you can get fuel, for instance, gasoline or any kind of heating oil. So to get cold and the people started freezing to them that everybody black could be able to get oil. You can have a long trail of oil stored someplace in your community where all of it can get enough oil to survive in cold weather. So food, the same thing. They started your own food. We started raising your own food in Mexico. I went down and spoke to all these, about 5 or 6 major universities down in the South, including Tuskegee. And I talked to the president and all the other people down there in these other universities at the administrative level and say, why don't you start developing your farm and have farm co-ops so that every Friday or every week you can start shipping all your food to different cities and have city food markets where blacks don't have to leave their neighborhoods to go get food. They can get fresh food that's being shipped in from the farms in the South. You got something like 4 million acres of land down there that's doing and raising nothing. And I said, we're going to organize it. And but the headship in one of those major universities told me, well, Dr. Townsend, white folk wouldn't like that if you start doing that. And he said, I can't go along with that. So that ended that. Just like back in the seafood, and out of raising 9 million pounds of fresh fish, clean fish, with no chemicals in the water and no trash and infestations. And guess what? After about 9 to 10 years operating that business, and I was the Chinese were coming down from New York every week, buying 10 or 15,000 pounds of fish a week, and hauling it back up to New York into these big urban cities. I was setting it up for black folks, and after 9 years, you know how many fish black folks bought? And
how many?
40.
Oh, Lord.
And I couldn't hold on because they didn't come down and buy the damn fish. And it's a clean fish. It was a tilapia and what's the other one? Fish?
Yeah, it was a farm. It was a farm, so it was organically grown and it was fresh, and you didn't have to worry about contaminants and things like that. So let me go. I'm gonna let you. I got another person who has a question. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna rerun these questions back down once we get. But I have a whole lot of others. That's Dr. Short, Dr. Randy Short. He's the influencer. He is the influencer on YouTube with the Angry Black Men's Book Club, Harvard PhD, area code 202. Dr. Randy Short, are you on the line with your question?
Yes. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Wonderful.
Because Dr. Short,
Yeah.
Dr. Short, Dr. Claud.
Dr. Anderson, thank you for your work.
Yes,
I bought my first books by you in 1985. And
you're a good man.
yeah, so was it Black Wealth, White Wealth, something like that? It was wonderful. And that's perhaps the best. I remember buying it from a bookstore on Connecticut Avenue, from a black-owned bookstore too. Now, my question to you is very direct. It's a 2-part. My question, you can say yes or no to it. The first part. The second part, you can go into detail. Yes or no, is the black church, the HBCUs, the Boule, and the black elite against black people getting reparations and economic parity for themselves? That's one. You can say yes or no. And then 2, in what ways, if so, if you think that our black elite, the black churches and others have been opposed to our economic liberation, can you detail what you've seen and your experience, how our traitorous black leadership has stood in the way of us getting what we need? And perhaps if you have a solution to get rid of bad black leadership, you can add that in as part 3.
Okay. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The black overclass, their primary responsibility is to keep black folks quiet and keep them under control and make sure they don't do anything that's disturbing or threatening to the major white society. And that's why they pick and choose. They cherry pick certain blacks in every neighborhood who they know would be just as safe as a birth control pill. They said some of them 20 times so safe as a birth control pill to put him in charge or appoint him to something in some high office, knowing good and well he's not going to take. He won't open his mouth, even if he was chewing, having his toes chewed chewed up by a damn dog. He ain't gonna speak up because he's safe in his position. And I've watched that throughout Florida. When I wrote the first affirmative action plan for black folks in the United States and had it approved by the state and the governors and everybody else, and the attorney generals and all. That was written in 1960 something. And that went all over the country. See, we have never had an official affirmative action plan except that one. I wrote that one and sent it around. And Governor Ruben Askew of Florida that time, he helped me to make sure everybody got notice of it. And after that, Jimmy Carter came down and asked me to run his campaign. They said all the blacks in the country say if there's one person that can run a campaign and beat the competition with the Nixons and all those, it's Anderson. And so blacks told people in Atlanta, Georgia that they asked me to run his campaign in Florida, and I had the highest turnout in the history of Florida since 1935. 96% of all the black folks turned out. That's how Jimmy Carter got elected to the president of the United States. He turned around then, and I had two offers, one for ambassadorship, one to the Bahamas, and the other one to Ghana. And at that time, my wife didn't want to go, and I said, so they said, why don't you be able to pick up these some of this economic stuff for the South, help all these blacks in the South. And that's what I did. I headed up a commission with. I had about 16 or 20 governors on my board. I was the chairman. I ran them, and I built things for black folks strictly across the South, in South Carolina. I built the Hilton Head Seafood Co-op. I built the Johns Island crabbing facility. I got blacks into stripping business down in Florida, and I went on and on all over this country building things strictly and solely for black folks. But I never got any help from any of these major blacks in the overclass. And it was
Dr. Claud, I don't want to interrupt you because it's a story that a lot of people don't know that I know, and I want you to get it out. And it speaks to Dr. Short's question. Tell him what happened with you and Jim Klingman. I believe it was Bob Law, and you all
on city council told me that they didn't want to have anything that would create problems, so they rather do it for the Hispanic neighborhood outside.
Yeah, but hold on, Dr. A. So what they need to understand is that you all, because see, we have a dichotomy and a shift between the young generation and new generation, and they don't understand how some of us, like Dr. Short and Dr. Anderson, was out here fighting. But we had a lot of boulets. So that speaks to the question. We had a lot of blockers. And like you said, and I need them to understand because they don't understand. I need them to understand what you were trying to do in Detroit and how you were trying to get the, I don't know, we're going to call it the Freedman Town. You were trying to do that up there. You guys were trying to do that years ago, and you got shot down. Talk about that piece.
Well, in that case, that was they'd appointed, I guess the city council was made up pretty much about black folks. I think they had about 7 or 8 blacks on the city council and one white woman. But the white woman was being told, do not let black folks do anything significant in this city. Because being with the President of the United States, I knew that they had set Detroit up to make Detroit be the highest and biggest and most productive Chinatown outside of China. At that time, they were trying to make Chinatown, Detroit, a Chinatown. And so I was fighting, and I asked for property so that I could build the factories and all there and bring in businesses for them. I had something like about 27 businesses that blacks would be all blacks. We're going to make up our own communities. I had grocery stores and everything you could think of in that line, along with the factories. And we would have been creating jobs of all natures, but all would be owned and president and operated by black folks. But we had Sam Bowles on the city council that the white woman got to and told him, don't do anything to help black folks. And I said, you have to, because Detroit 200 years ago, and three or four white folk controlled all the land in Detroit back in about 150 years or so ago. And guess what? After it's 5, I'm gone. I quit. Because I'm going to stop here and keep fighting and wrestling with you. I don't have to live in Detroit. I'm spending my money. And I put $19 million into it. I don't have to say to fight you to make you take something. After I tell you what, if you don't do this, Detroit will be owned and controlled by people again, just like it did 200 years ago. And right now, this day, right now on a Saturday, you go to Detroit now, and nearly 100% of all the land downtown on the river, the prime property is owned by 3 whites. One with a sports team over in Cleveland. Another one is called Maroon. He owns the bridge, the tunnels going to Canada. It brings in revenue. Everything in Detroit is basically downtown owned by 3 white people. Period.
So Dr. Anderson.
And Dr. Short, hold on real quick, Dr. Short. They come right in behind me, Dr. Short. What was that mayor's name that blocked us? Because I remember that. What is that mayor's name?
He went to jail.
Kwame Kirkpatrick.
There it is. Kwame Kirkpatrick. So I wanted you all to come out versus me because I already knew the answer. So when I'm talking to people sometimes publicly, sometimes they think I don't know what I know. But the thing is Kwame Kilpatrick came out against this master plan. And you had a Greek town, you already had a Chinatown, everybody has
They have
one,
a Jew
just
town.
like everybody has a reproductive part. Everybody has a town like a reproductive part, except the black people, the freedmen, the descendants of U.S. chattel slavery, the foundational black
And
America.
Sister Sean.
Everybody has a part. Go ahead, Dr. Short.
We're being betrayed. The ethnocide, the slow institutional economic genocide of black people is co-signed and authored by black folks we think are respectable. We're never going to have anything until we rebel against our traitors. They're deliberately doing this. Everything that you're saying is true. The HBCUs and the black churches are all working against our survival. And as long as we invest in people who are cutting our throats, we've signed our own death warrant.
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. We got to break away from most of these churches. Most of them are nothing but
pedophiles, pimps, grifters, liars, chiselers. I'm a preacher's kid. I don't like preachers. Most of them make me angry.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I'm a preacher's kid. I don't like preachers 99% of the time. I prefer gangsters. I prefer hoes, pimps. They actually do the business that they say they're doing.
Well,
Dr. Claud, go ahead. Dr. Short said he prefers gangsters over preachers because they're not doing his job. And then we have a 4th question by JD. So go ahead and close it out with Dr. Short.
Well, I'll tell you right now, if you were to go on your TV right now on your computer and type in TD Jakes and Eddie Long.
Look, Dr. A ain't that old, y'all. Y'all thought he was like somewhere in the weeds and he old. He's fresh off he's up with the information. Okay, we got another. Let's go ahead and bring in 202 JD. Miss JD, my co-host. My co-host. Come on in. 202 JD.
Okay. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, Dr. Claud Anderson. It is a pleasure meeting you, hearing your voice. I've been following your work. I have your books. The hardest one for me, I just want to say, was Black Labor, White Wealth. Good God Almighty, that thing brought me to tears. But I got through it, and I want to thank you for all of your life work, all of the efforts, time, energy that you've been putting in, working for the people. So I wanted you to say that. It's an honor to meet you.
Well, thank you very much. And would you do me a favor? Right now, 5 books. I wrote those books in an order, vertical order, starting with the first one being the Black Labor, White Wealth, just to show you the nature of how it came about. But it goes all the way up to the top. The last one is called The Black History Reader, which asks questions, 101 questions that you never thought to ask, that you need to know the answers to. And that's the last book. Now, those are 5 books to be read in an order. And then think about it, to be in every school where black kids are attending. Do not let your kids go to school and spend all their time reading about Benjamin Franklin and George Washington and hoover anybody other than black folks. My books, all of them, the Dirty Little Secrets book, those two books alone have over 1,000 short stories about things, achievements of black folks that black folks never knew about and would never find out about. These are books are all in that stack. There are 5 of them in there. And all 5 of them books can be purchased for less than $100. And they can be in every home. And don't spend your time sending kids to school if you don't have those books in your house. I got people in Detroit right now that out of every black kid that starts at elementary school or kindergarten, he never graduates from high school. 50% never graduate. And out of the 50% that does graduate, guess what? They're reading at a 5th grade level because you don't get the books and have them read the books. You tell your teachers and your school system that are putting all those white books in the school that tells you nothing about black folks' problems and how they can be resolved, and the people you should be loving and respecting and appreciating. And they got you looking for white folks for what white folks will do for you. Like the Biden and the rest of them, no white person in the history of this nation, no white president has ever said one damn thing or sent one special bill, a program, resources to black folks in all these damn years, because they're not going to do it. I was associated with 2 presidents. That was President Carter and with Clinton. And I had experiences in the White House and all that. I was the first black assistant secretary in Commerce. And when I headed up trade missions in third world nations. That was all through the Caribbean, Latin America, Europe, England, Germany, France, and Africa. I headed up. I was the first black ever with a cheaper.
Yeah. And Dr. Claud, I don't mean to interrupt. So speaking, and I want her to get her question, but now that you're on the books, that's something that I wanted to close out with. The biggest thing that I want to tell everybody to do is get that, I call it the Red Book. The Red Book is the Black History Reader. And that is very, very important. And outside of schools, if you don't know, call your local library and request for your library to add that book to its inventory. It's not just the schools that you can call. Call your local library, and especially the Black History Reader. It's an easy read, and then that will kind of tease them for the other more academic books. But that's a book that your children can read, your grandmama can read. That red book, that red book is like what that green book used to be up to us. So you definitely got to get that red book, and you go to powernomics.com and request your local library. Put the request in to inventory that book. Go ahead with your question, JD.
Okay, so my question, Dr. Claud Anderson, is what do you recommend as your top 3 priorities for black people moving forward?
First of all, I want them to stop trying to practice socialism and practice capitalism. Capitalism came up in the 15th century, and I know a lot of blacks go around here now. They got a little tinge of communist views about things. But capitalism is a very simple process that came out when slavery started. And all it is capitalism means own and control the land, the tools, and the resources, and then use someone else's labor to get profits out of it. We have to practice profitability for our people. Our people right now don't understand that. The wealth gap in America is as bad as it's ever been. And we, as black folk right now, only control only one half of 1% of the wealth in this nation. That means that they have not changed one iota since 1860. You cannot compete physically, financially, in any other respect unless you get some money. Don't let people tell you money is bad, money no good, and all that kind of stuff. Money is okay. We have to get it. Keep your money in your pocket and make it bounce 11 to 12 times before it leaves.
Okay, number two. And number 2,
what I want you to do is to build your own communities and do it vertically integrate. Control everything from the bottom to the top. And that's like in the seafood, that's why I went down and built the seafood industry, and I was put all these restaurants on top that you all can own your own restaurants and stuff for fish and seafood and everything. I made arrangements with the big fish industry in Florida. They're going to ship me everything, the crabs and the oysters and everything. I want you all to dominate, and control wherever you live in the majority, and then wherever you shop in the majority. You control. Don't let anybody else control your community. And if it's something that you're buying, you make sure you own it from bottom to top.
Yes, ownership. Okay, number 3. Number 3.
Close your neighborhoods every night. Do not leave them wide open as a neighborhood. Anybody can drive through and drop off the pimps, the hustlers, the drug dealers, the prostitutes, and dump their garbage on vacant lots. Stop it. If it has any value to it, close it, put a fence around it, or put up signs saying this is a black neighborhood. It is forbidden. If you get caught dumping anything in here, that's your ass.
Yes.
We're gonna work with you.
Number 3, Dr. Claud. We're almost running out of time. Go ahead. We got this lightning round. Number 3.
Now, right now, I was trying to propose to get you a high-speed rail system that run all the way from Charlotte, from Charlotte to South Carolina, all the way across the United States, and it would stop only in Atlanta, Alabama, and each state. South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, and Louisiana.
Southern Belt. It was the Southern Belt. It's the Southern Flyer. The Southern Belt. I'm going to start promoting that. It's the Southern Belt.
Oh, yeah, on the Southern Belt. It's called right through the Black Belt. The Black Belt runs all the way from the East Coast to the West Coast. We had our own. We could hire our own people. We could buy and own ship in our own railroads. Every nation right now has a high-speed rail system except this one. But Biden turned right around and took the $3 trillion that he got from the government, and he gave it to the good old boys. Biden has not done anything to help black folks economically in this country. He didn't give any money to black folks. Black folks put him in office. He inherited. Never talking about we'll give reparations. You owe black folks. Black folks don't owe white. Black folks own themselves. And right now, and then white folks most of the white folks ran off from the Civil War anyway. And 250-something damn black who are now ex-slaves, they won the war. Coming in and stopping the British from burning down Philadelphia, burning down Washington, D.C. Black folk won the damn war, Civil War. The whites didn't. You step and tell us we are special people. Here it is, the last thing. You sort of argue down, don't talk about anything except this. You just say black folk are special people. They're exceptional people. Nobody on earth has been mistreated, subordinated, enslaved, and maltreated like black folk. So don't let anybody join you with any other group. Don't be let them talk about blacks and browns. Browns were just owned slaves just like whites did. Indians also. I got lawsuits right now in the courts suing the damn Indians for they own.
Yes, the freedmen. Let me I want to tell people about that. I've been trying to tell people on social media that you have the Harvest Institute. A lot of people don't know that part about you. They know about Powernomics, but you actually run a think tank called the Harvest Institute, and you've been fighting for the Indians and the freedmen. And just close us out, and I know I'm going beyond Muhammad, just shut us off, answer that, but I want everybody, Chef C, Bloodline Filming, TV, Bloodline Business, P-Ray 1690, WBON, Chef C out of New Jersey, Juan Johnson, Long Wolf, Dr. Short, Angry Black Men's Club, JD, Lico Brewery, Black-owned beer company. Close us out and let people know you had the original Freedmen Institute, the Harvest Institute, and you use as Freedmen your lawsuit for the Indians, the indigenous Indians. So close us out with that, and you're about to get cut off, but I love everybody. Go ahead, Dr. Short.
With me? God bless
Dr.
you.
Short, you still there?
Dr. Anderson.
I'm sorry, Dr. Anderson.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. Right now we're inching forward, but right now we got everybody against us saying that black folks are not entitled to reparations, when yet every group in this country, every religious group, every ethnic group, every racial group, every group I can think of has gotten some form of reparations from this country and get it daily. And black folk have never gotten anything because they're saying you got rights. And the problem in this nation is not the civil rights organization. Don't understand. The major thing that you're talking about is what the problem was doing slavery. Slavery was designed to redistribute 100% of all the land, the businesses, the resources, the power, the privileges, and control of everything in this country into the hands of the dominant white society. That's all the civil rights people should be talking about. Quit cut this stuff about equality. Blacks don't need equality because they're above every damn body as it is. Why would you want them to come down to be like something like Mexicans or people coming from the islands and everything else? They were not enslaved. Black folks should be the epitome of everything that black folks should shoot for. Shoot for 100% of redistributing everything that they took from black folks, give it back to folks and get it back. That's reparations.
All right.
MFM. MFM.
MFM.
Thank you, Dr. Claud Anderson.
MFM.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
MFM.
Thank you, Dr. Claud.
MFM.
Dr. Claud, we appreciate you.
Harvest Institute, Freedmen.
MFM.
Contributions to the Institute. People that never given up to the money was ICE and Dr. Watson. Those people that never gave up to the money are significant. I got a lot of poor blacks that send money on a regular basis, but they never give up in the stuff of the money. And not one black, like these billionaires and millionaires like Oprah and the rest of these people, they don't ever send us to the money to give anything. I got to help. I spend hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars out of my own pocket to fight for black folks.
We love you, Dr. A. Thank you for coming through for me. We love you. I want you back in August. We're going to Chicago in August.
MFM.
We're going to Chicago. We're going to Chicago, DNC.
MFM, Dr. Anderson. Tell them what it means, Sean, off air. MFM.
Turn in your weapons and get a bag of groceries and all that stuff. The Fox Powernomics website, just go to the website, or any people like Sister Sean, she can get in touch with us anytime. That's a wonderful woman, smart woman. She's a
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
If I had another 3 or 4 million women like Sister Sean, hell, I could walk all the way to heaven.
Well, yes. MFM. MFM, Dr. Claud. Ask Sean what it means.
Take care. Thank you, and I love you all.
Love you too.
Thank you. We love you too.
MFM, everybody.
Stay safe.
That was Claud Anderson. MFM, everybody. MFM. MFM. MFM.
Look, we talking all this smack. Anthony at the station about to give us the smackdown.
Well, you can hang up. I'll hang up. MFM, everybody. Chef C, I sent you a link. I sent you a link.
Giving us some grace.
Okay.
And be as black as you want to be.
Okay. And Sean, tell him what MFM means. We're going to have a Claud Anderson. No, not on air. Off air.
This is FM radio.
Off air.
On FM radio.
Off air.
Yeah, off air.
Yes.
Okay, Okay, I'll tell him off air.
Off air.
All right, I love y'all. And Anthony, I don't know if you're still there. We are 5 minutes, and he can take a real serious hit from FCC Communications. I don't know if this is still being recorded or not, but he's giving us some grace. So we got to get the MFM out of here.
MFM, everybody. That was Dr. Claud Anderson. We must get the MFM. This has been a special edition of the Angry Black Men's Book Club in association with SALT Ministries and with the new United Black Media Matrix. We had several different platforms all over the country coming together to get out Dr. Anderson's words. We are looking for partner influencers and other people where we can come together and use even our basic platforms and technology to spread a message as far and wide. And We need to, the same way Dr. Anderson said, the big black people don't give him money. We have major platform groups that don't raise everybody. They could. There's nothing stopping them. We want to be different. So we want to partner with serious people that don't have BS platforms to look to see how we can make certain that we reach not hundreds, but what if we could reach millions? What if we were able to reach the same number of people as those tragic people on the Breakfast Club, DJ Penis Envy, and so forth? We really should be doing that.
They can go to powernomics.com on the computer. Go to powernomics.com on the computer. You can pick up all the information about the books and anything else, and can contact all these people now that are crediting the books that are being used in the schools. And you tell them if our books are not in the school where black kids can read them, then you don't want to read the rest of all those white books that are put in there. Ain't no black books going in there on a regular basis. They're all white books.
That's right.
Yeah, and you know what, Dr. Short, because I think we're continuing. I think you did a good thing. I got cut off the show, but we're continuing on StreamYard.
Okay, yes, we
in
are.
Chicago, I did the numbers. It's $12 million per month per migrant. $12 million per month, and this is the numbers for migrants, illegal. New York City is about $13 million a month. So that's like $25 million a month we're dealing.
And we're doing way more. They're killing us.
And Dr. Wait a minute, hold on. Dr. A, once I start looking at it, another thing that we need to also be talking about when we get on the station or pushing a protective class. Because when we look at all the benefits that these illegal immigrants are getting, they're getting locked up and they're even being released without being deported. They are actually, these liberals, they are actually creating an illegal immigrant as a form of a protective class, and we don't even have protective classmanship. What is your thoughts on that?
What you should do is, let me answer that very quickly for you. What you should do is go to your history books and look up the slaughterhouse case in 1842, which says the slaughterhouse case in history that was ruled after the Civil War. It says that nobody should be placed above black folk or be competing with black people for anything. And that's why we had a Freedmen's Bureau, and the white folks have been, and what goes went into effect, they used their influence to add refugees on the end of it. So the Freedmen's Bureau is not totally for us now. Most of the money going into the Freedmen's Bureau winds up going to immigrants. You can remember that. They wind up because they added that. Because the Indians got a federal Indian Bureau that's still in existence. We had a Freedmen's Bureau, but they mixed it up and threw in these other groups, all these Asians, Arabs, Hispanics, anybody. People got headaches, toenail infections, bacteria, anything they can think of, laryngitis, anything. They get reparations, but black folks don't, because we don't stop them. We don't raise Cain with the administration at the state levels and the federal levels, saying do not send any money to groups that they are not equal to black folks. You can reject all these broad, ambiguous terms they use to pretend that you're a part of it, like underclass, people that are just coming in as new immigrants, people of color, anything. They use all these broad names. You tell them anything that's coming to black folk, come straight to black folk. Native blacks, not African blacks, but native blacks. That's the way you shut out all these other groups that are coming from other countries, call themselves African because they lived in Africa, they're whites. Just the native black Americans are different from anybody else in this country. Use that word, native blacks Americans. And the Indians were not the original people in this country. It was black folks. The Folsom people came here 10 to 15,000 years way before the Indians crossed the Bering Straits.
Go ahead, Dr. Short, that's on you. Because you're the only one still streaming. Go ahead, go for it. So the Folsom people were the original people, so that's really, really good. So that's what makes me angry. It makes me angry that these people, what I'm saying, they're trying to make them a protected class. And one thing that I didn't really get out on the live show, ground zero is really Los Angeles. Because Los Angeles, their population has reduced to 3% of the overall population. And I don't know what the original percentage was. It definitely wasn't 3%. It was like maybe 30, 40% reduced down, and they're 50% of the population. So Los Angeles is really the real ground zero, and they're trying to replicate what they did in Los Angeles and Chicago. And they're going out there, Dr. A, in August. And I'm going to try to come out there, and I'm going to promote. I'm going to stand with the people of Chicago, but I also want to see August is our harvest day. See, we had to shut down that harvest day with all that COVID mess.
And demand that the schools put those books in all the black schools. Wherever you have black students, make sure that the Powernomics books are in those schools to give those black kids a fighting chance.
Yeah.
Dr. Anderson, I have a question. What do you suggest we do for February, since February is a set aside for Black History Month? What do you propose for us to come strong with our fight in this movement to promote it every day of the month in Black History Month? What do you suggest?
I would tell you to demand to know what the Congressional Black Caucus has achieved for black folks this year and what they got set for black folks for this coming year, and show you what you're getting. They never present anything to you in terms of achievement and tell me you don't want to know anything about no darn hire no black secretary in somebody's office. What have they done significant, like high-speed rail systems and all that kind of stuff, and having your own school books and textbooks? And again, the Chinese now are demanding that they quit teaching admitting black kids coming to under the special program for admission to universities. You tell them that is against the slaughterhouse case from the United States Supreme Court in 1842.
And Dr. Claud Anderson, I just saw something that this woman, a Chinese woman up in New York, they just filed a lawsuit against the state of New York because they're now trying to, they got the Supreme Court to overturn affirmative action. Here comes the second part. Now they're trying to end the STEM program up there for disadvantaged kids. You know, like it's eligibility income requirement. I think it's $25,000 that the parents have to make. That's the max, and anything under that, your child qualify for that program. Now they're trying to get them to abolish that.
Oh, well, first of all, you have to understand that you all be ready and start hitting the court, jamming the courts with lawsuits. Tell them, first of all, that the United States Supreme Court is prohibited from getting involved in any racial matters, that they do not have the authority to be involved in making any decisions applying to black people. Tell them that what they've been using is what they call the Madison and Marlboro decision in 1803.
Marlboro.
White folks have been using that as an excuse to get involved in racial issues. The United States Supreme Court can only get involved in making decisions in three things. One, they can get involved in ambassadorial appointments. Two, and where you have a federal employee who is failing to do his job and is getting fired. And three is that in case of a lower court decision. Other than that, the United States Supreme Court is not authorized to get involved in anything pertaining to race for black people. That came out. That is a law. That is they're operating illegally. That's why Donald Trump wants to go to the Supreme Court, because he made most of the appointments over there, and he know they would use that. But the United States, you just tell them. I told you, Dr. Claud Anderson said they are not authorized The United States Supreme Court cannot make decisions applying to anything to black folks. That's what the 13th and 14th and 15th Amendment meant, and that's also what the slaughterhouse case also meant. That the Supreme Court cannot get involved. Supreme Court doesn't represent the United States. It represents only the wishes of a few presidents who made those appointments. Stand up and say, no, we're not going for it anymore, period. And be prepared to back it up.
Dr.
Right,
Anderson,
thank you.
I have a question to ask you, if I may.
Who's it? Is it Chef?
No, it's Randy.
Nah, that's Dr. Randy Short. His chef back on the
Okay,
line.
go ahead. Yeah, because we got some extra. This is what you call added value. Anthony shut us off. Go ahead, Dr. R. Go ahead.
Okay, so
R.
Dr. Anderson, what would you think? And I'm saying that, believe it or not, you have enough clout. I was thinking if we could do a 5 to 6 month boycott, we could break the asses of all the people that stand in our way. I've noticed that the traitor black leadership, that's Sharpton, that's all of them, even some religious ones, some of them in Chicago, you know what I mean. None of these people talk about using the mass economic weight that we have as consumers to shut everybody off. And as we don't buy, we develop the means to have a supply chain and so forth amongst ourselves. Even if we just did one city, we could smash these people. What I hate about black leadership, especially religious leadership, is they don't want to fight anybody except each other. And they only want to fight black people who stand up. They have no smoke for anybody else. What do you say about us boycotting Christmas, all of it, not even Dr. King's Day? I mean, we shouldn't spend anything and let the businesses collapse and buy them pennies on the dollar. That's what we should do. What do you say?
That's exactly what you should do. You should boycott. You should boycott every business that's not black. And anybody shipping anything into the black community must be based on quid pro quo, something for something. If you're gonna ship in McDonald's hamburgers into the black community, then you must buy something that black folk have produced to go into the white community. So everything that you bring into a black community to sell, you should be selling things into the white community to keep it balanced and even. Do not let them ship stuff into you and you just buy it and just give you a job. A job ain't gonna cut it. It has ownership. Own and control everything, or you dominate in population and dominate in spending patterns. Take your money, make your money talk by withholding it, and don't spend it for anybody. If you have to hold on to it, keep it in your pocket and under the mattress if you want to.
Are we in there? Are we in? Everybody live?
We're still here.
Okay. I gotta ask you, Dr. Claud Anderson, are you there, sir?
Dr. A?
Yes.
Okay, we got Chef C from New Jersey. He got something. Go ahead, Chef.
Yes, I have to ask you, Doc. We have a situation. Well, first and foremost, you talk about those 5 pillars to build, and you said it had to start with resources. Do you think part of us not following the structure with which you laid out it can be counterproductive to our situation by folks going to be social media influencers rather than building a resource-based, economic base first, priorities being out of shape? What are your thoughts on that, sir?
First of all, get into a business where you're providing resources. See that's the difference. See, an Asian will tell you very quickly out west that the reason they don't shut Asians down or shut them out. Asians will come into this country and put up an Asian restaurant any place they want, anytime, anywhere in the nation. Because you know why? Because white folks cannot take over Asian restaurants and cannot operate them. And so consequently, blacks must operate businesses where white folks cannot duplicate it and cannot imitate it and sell strictly your product. So they want to buy the thing. If we're gonna dominate in sports, you should have sports shops owned and operated by blacks all through your city. If we're gonna dominate in music, you should have music shops, music stores. You should have theaters that are primarily going to the black communities. You should dominate in anything from the bottom to the top, or in seafood, dominate from the boat to the throat, and make sure you hold every business in there, and let those businesses operate as a team. Racism is a team sport.
Yes, it
Learn how to
is.
play as a team. Quit beating up on each other and bad mouthing each other
Mm-hmm.
and killing each other, and shooting and stabbing.
Mm-hmm.
Tell and say, he's my brother, and I'm not going to mistreat him.
Got you. I appreciate that contribution, sir. It has been our inability to work with each other that cripples us.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, sir, for shining the light on that.
I have another question, Dr. Anderson. And I have said this, I got banned from some churches in Baltimore. I recommended that any church with a coon preacher, any denomination that won't support reparations, our empowerment, even us having our own police and military and a government for us, our own parliament, the people shouldn't give those preachers any money. We need the tithe cut. If you starve those no good preachers out, some of them would lose weight, wouldn't have money to put in their Bentleys. A whole bunch of them would be talking like you. Everybody should quit all black organizations that don't support us getting our MFM. You can ask Sister Sean. She'll tell you what MFM means. Okay, the F you know, but we won't say that.
Oh, no, we can say it now. We off
Okay.
air.
Oh, we're off air.
FM radio,
Okay,
FCC. We can say it,
wonderful.
but go ahead and-
Dr.
and-
Anderson,
Dr.
let me tell him what it
Claud,
means.
What that mean?
Let me tell him what it means. Dr. Claud, Mahalia Jackson, when the preachers would try to rob her, she carried a derringer in the church. You probably heard this story. And Mahalia Jackson would demand her motherfucking money. And as a way to get black folks serious, because reparations sounds a little white, as we use the word MFM. And I mean, it would be cool if you said MFM on my stream. I think I'm gonna like die and go to heaven if you say MFM. But you know what I mean. When I hear you talk, I don't hear you say reparations. I hear someone saying MFM. So, if you said MFM on my show, I mean, that would make history. Dr. Claud Anderson said MFM. Oh my God.
Well, let me say that last thing that I have to get on. The other thing I've been recommending for over 50 years, ever since the civil rights movement started back in 1950s, late 1950s. What we should have done, and I'm tired of telling black folks this, you've got to withdraw, come out of all the Republican Party affiliations, out of all the Democratic Party affiliations, and get away from both of those false organizations, and create a black national party called the Black Party, and that way vote only in your own interest. Tell white folk, I'm not playing that game anymore. If you mark the deck, if you mark the cards and load the dice and rig the machines, I'm in a casino. I'm not going in. I've never won and got anything out of a voting. You've never got one damn thing out of voting. What you want to say, we're going to do is a black party, and any candidate that wants to run and represent black folks to get resources for blacks, we will support them.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, like the Jews, say, no, if you're not doing anything for Jews, we're not going to support you.
Dr. Anderson, could you call it the Kool-Aid Party? I was saying we need a Kool-Aid Party.
And don't run any candidates. You let all the white candidates run if they want to, and you can figure out which ones you want to support based on what they promise and delivers to black folks. That way, white folks can't hurt you, get to you. You just say we will vote and support whoever promises the most and delivers the most to black folk, period. We ain't running no damn candidates. You can run black candidates every day right now, and Sambos will sell you out before you get to your
Yes,
back door.
Lord. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
final question for you, Dr. Claud, if you don't mind, and it's regarding these legacy organizations. Do they stand? Should they be used anymore? Should we abolish these legacy organizations at this stage of the game for Black America?
Okay, what are the organizations?
The quote-unquote NAACP.
Oh, well, NAACP has never represented Black folk.
Never.
We got other ones, Dr. Claud. We got NARC, CBC, all of them.
They don't come into existence to represent Black folk. That's why the head of the NAACP was white. The president was up until the late 1940s. They wouldn't represent Black folk. They represent Jews who were trying to come into the country and wanted to cut a deal to say if Black folk would support us and let us put Jewish businesses on in every Black neighborhood, then we would support them for social integration. And the social integration took our asses backwards. We don't need social integration. I need economic integration.
That's right.
Right.
MFM.
So you don't get them and fight. And in my old age, I want you all to fight some of them once in a while for me. Say, we're fighting for Dr. Anderson. We want economic integration. We want damn social integration. We were socially integrated during slavery.
That's
We slept
right.
out in the back of the white man's house. We swept his house, cleaned his house, mopped his floors. We ran his every damn thing. Anderson wants money.
Yes.
Money.
MFM.
So
MFM.
Anderson and Short is saying the same thing. Anderson and Short is saying the same thing. Let me tell you something, Dr. Anderson. I'm going to let everybody just close out on this. That's why you got this the family in here. This the family chat. We got you. We holding your philosophy 10 toes down in our individual lives, on our social media. I don't know if P. Ray could get in. She shut down. She probably couldn't get back in. But Dr. Short is already hosting. Okay, P. Ray's here. Oh, Chicago. Damn. I want P. Ray to talk a little bit. Chef C, Dr. Short, JD, me, we are holding you down. And I thank you so much. So much. Because I know you don't come out. You don't come out as frequent. But I want you to know deep down in your spirit, in your soul, these are the people. You chose me, right? And I chose them. You chose me, Dr. Short, Dr. Claud. And you said, you taught me X amount of things, right? I'm teaching them, and I'm not even just teaching them, they're actually teaching me. And these are the people that is in that circle. So I just want you to know and sleep well at night. You got some soldiers on the line. You got some soldiers on the line. And they are for you 100%.
But thank you. You know what I want you to do now? Is to tell either all these book selection committees for all the public schools and the private schools that I want to see a massive increase in them providing books that are specifically designed for Black children. And that if white children don't want to read, fine, that's good. But I want Black kids to understand where they are, who they are, what they should be shooting for. So you tell them right now that I won't.
No, we don't tell them. But guess what? We got to fight because we got to fight this CRT mess, which is nothing but a trope. So we're going to fight that. We know that. That's why I told them to call the library directly. See, they don't understand. Black folks don't understand their power. Call the library directly and demand, which I'm going to do at my local library, where I spend my taxes is $8,000 a year just for me to live where I'm living. That ain't got shit to do with my mortgage, my Pepco, my electric, my water. I got to pay $8,000 a year just to live here. So if I got to do that, I can call my local library and say, give me that red book. Give me that Black History reader. But I want P. Ray to get in here. P. Ray, she's in ground zero. We got some stuff going on in August. P. Ray, get on in here real quick because he got to go. He got to go.
Yes, ma'am. So thank you again for hosting us or allowing us to host you. We are going to be dealing with the DNC in August here in the city of Chicago. And as my question was before, when I asked you about things that we can do, I know we talked about a lot of things on the long term, but we don't have a long timeline to deal these things. We have an election coming up in about 6 weeks, and then we have another election coming up in 10 months, on top of the fact that all of the DNC is coming to our city. What is the best way for us as the Negro population in the city that's being decimated to use this power and time to let them know that, or not to let them know, but to notify the world of the power that's still here in Black Chicago? Because a lot of people think that it's gone, and we're still here 10 toes down.
Wait, you say the same thing to black musicians, black singers, and black actors, and across the board, and say that from now on, if you want us to patronize you as an athlete or an entertainer, and whatever you might be, you better give up start putting damn money into the black community and trying to help us build stuff. If you don't, we're gonna boycott your asses and put you out of business. Come on.
Especially these no good rappers. Oh, God have mercy.
Well, Dr. Claud, I sat here and I wondered, I said, whatever happened to that Raggedy Breakfast Club pushing our brother Dr. Claud Anderson's book into the schools? Did anything ever pan out with that?
No, not yet. No,
And what he's saying, he's talking about Charlemagne the God.
Oh no, Charlemagne still tries to help, but he's limited because he's on a white station, and
he's on a white plantation.
Charlemagne is a very strong supporter, though. I do like him. He
supports your book, but his ideology. I know he's a strong supporter of your book, but he don't really. He flip flops on the ideology. He's almost like a fanboy, Dr. Claud. He's like a fanboy because he's selling us out. He needs to get on his platform and talk about our reparations in a protective class.
Well, I think the world of Charlemagne, so that's my man. So I got to get off. Y'all take care, and I love you.
Okay. One last thing before you go, Dr. Claud. This is JD. I just want you to know I'm in D.C. I am a senior. I am disabled, and I'm up here swinging because I'm in the belly of the beast. And I love you. You take care of yourself.
All right, love y'all.
Okay, guys.
Hanging out. This was a very good extended conversation because this wasn't even planned.
Well, we're hanging together like white folks on January 6th.
This is a bonding session.
This is like the Black January 6th.
Not part of the plan.
I know.
Dr. Short, let me let you hear. I think it was beautiful. It's historic. And we got everything off our chest.
Well, thank you so much for hosting this, Sister Sean. Really, this is a big deal. Thank you.
And this is what we have to do. This is what I have to do because I'm getting old. I ain't got time for y'all. Y'all got to put that damn work in. People like you, HFC, Dr. Short has been putting in the work. We putting in the work. And the thing is that we're trying. What we're fundamentally trying to do is to bridge the intergenerational. Here's what I call it. Actually, I got this from Barbara West. It's the intergenerational history gap. See, we don't know who the hell we are. See, and so now we got these people dictating, and we're under attack with CRT, with our history, and with our contributions, our inventions, everything we did as a people. So if you combine us not speaking up and letting those generations go, and topple that with 8.5 million people coming over the border who don't give two fucks about us, don't know nothing about us.
Oh, no, they do. They hate us. They hate us. They do give.
If we don't get this in order, these people, they will come. And in fact, I didn't get that. I want to take the slogan, or something that went in my mind, I did not get to get it out in the show. But I'm going to get it out to you guys, because you guys have your show. And I thought about it. I pontificated, okay? And here's what I kind of came up with to bring things to the current day. And I wanted to end the show, and I couldn't do it. But here's my quote. I wrote it down. Mass immigration. I want you to listen to what I'm saying. Mass immigration is the America's equivalent of mowing the lawn.
Sure it is.
Mowing the lawn.
Yes, it is.
It's a slogan that the Israelis use. It is an Israeli tactic used to going into Gaza to kill Palestinians just to keep them at bay. They call it mowing the lawn.
That's right.
Just like when you're out and we're in our wonderful gardens and our lawns, we cut our lawns down every 2 to 3 weeks to keep the overgrowth. The Negro is going to be the overgrowth in America if we allow these immigrants. And now it's been exposed. We have active Zionists in our country. It is going to be nothing for them to turn against the Negro. And they will take the same mindset and the same ideology. It will be fucking simple and simply as mowing the lawn.
Sister Sean, the mowing the lawn concept.
That's what I want to leave you with.
The mowing the lawn comes from Rabbi Kahane, who's from Brooklyn. What's happening to the people in Gaza started with what they used to do to blacks in New York. It is the same people. The folks who are killing the people on the West Bank move back and forth between Israel and New York City and Chicago. It is completely connected. There's no difference between the two.
So then I'm not far off base.
No, you're exactly on
analysis.
base. Our communities are the new
And
Gazas.
Here's what I want to say, Dr. Short. Here's what I want to tell my people. There's nobody that influenced me. I am not an op. I am not an agent. I did my independent research. This thing has been keeping me up at night, along with other stuff that I do and that I share. I've been learning. I've been researching Bible, biblical, Zionism, Judaism, Muslim. I've been studying all that stuff. And I'm coming to you with a fresh eye. And I see what these people are doing. These people are framing us up for the motherfucking kill. And that's why I give salute to South Africa. Because South Africa did that for a reason. Because the minimum reason is if we let Israel get away with this, get any country away with this, any sovereignty, any nation can get away with the same. It's no holds bar. It's all equal. It's all relevant. It's all okay. And what South Africa did, and that black woman, what South Africa did was stand up and to say, even though we call them tethers and all that, but that came out of Africa. And I look at this like civilization came out of Africa. It was South Africa that stood up against a little itty bitty country with no statehood, a people with no land. These Palestinians who are being brutalized. And they have juxtaposed in our minds that these people called Israelis are the holy people of God? No. We are the two tribes. We are the people of God. And I literally didn't learn this until October 7th. And I quickly analyzed that no, This is a cadre of people who call themselves holy, but they are the most unholy. There will be some repercussions for me saying that, but I'm not going to be afraid to say it. Those are the holy, unholy people, and they need to get out of Jerusalem. They need to get out of our holy land because they are evil, and they are practicing evil under the political thing of Zionism in America. Who I am, I'm trying to bring America out of this, in my knowledge, is that America is continuing to display itself, to demonstrate itself, to always be iffing in evil and motherfucking sin. Not the MFM that we're looking, but the MFS. You're constantly dipping in MFS, the motherfucking sin. And it's time for you to get your whooping. It's time for you to get your motherfucking lashes. You're going to get your lashes and you're going to get our MFM because it's all related. I literally studied this since October 2nd, and I'm not even a religious person. And I'm willing to come out. And I'm coming out on that truth. I'm coming out on that analysis. I'm coming out on that study. You are a fucking fraud. You are evil. And we have to capitalize, and we cannot be afraid. The Palestinians ain't afraid. We cannot be afraid because these people, oh man, there's a political reference in dichotomy. You all have infiltrated my motherfucking country.
Sister
I
Sean,
want my MSC back.
I do
My
want.
motherfucking country.
I want to say this, not because I'm scared, but Sister Eve is my witness. GCP runs YouTube, so understand that it'll be interpreted as hate speech, and it'll take my channel the same way the FCC. I can't cuss on your radio. You can't come so hard on GCP that they pull us off. Just saying. Rules apply.
Okay, I digress. I'm going to respect the rules.
Oh yeah,
But those,
GCP is everywhere.
so we've got to get a. This is what makes me so passionate because here's the problem. There's rules and there's truth, and rules are only good for those who craft the rules. So if you have evil doers and synagogues of Satan crafting the rules, are they still rules? What do we really admonish to? What are the damn rules? So that's the problem.
No.
So you can't just be out here with pseudo rules, especially when you've been proven lie after lie after lie, video after video after video, investigation after investigation of investigation, and now the United States International Court of Justice. How many times are you going to call me a lie? It's not working no more. So maybe a few more people need to die. Maybe people like me. But I'm willing to die for the truth. And I'll end this conversation with that.
I would advise anyone who's interested in learning more about this controversial topic to go to rents.com, where another group of people have extensive conversations and let them shoulder the burden of the retribution, because we're under such censorship as a collective. Our voices need to be heard and amongst us. And I can just assure you, when you set up a black website, the same way the black woman wouldn't patronize the woman with the nail thing. If you go to a black website and try to get a black audience, you won't get it, because let me be honest, we're against our own cause. This is a big problem. And I want to assure you that all those in this black collective that refuse to get on code, refuse to do stuff, there's a hell of a judgment and a consequence facing us for refusing to do it, for not even considering it. As I said earlier in the live radio interview, many of us are signing our own death warrants. That may already be in play. And the crazy thing is that we make a decision to be destroyed and then bitch and complain about the destruction. So you can choose life or you can choose death. What is your choice on this Sabbath? Are you choosing life? Are you choosing prosperity? Or are you choosing the continuation of slavery? I don't know if Chef C is still there, but we've gone. Wow.
Yeah, but let me tell you this. Let me just say these last words. And I've pontificated that, and we don't need to be involved. We need to stay on code. But it just bothers me spiritually. And at the end of the day, here are two things that I'm for. I'm for humanity, and I'm for Christ. And you ask me any question, don't ask me it. My answer to the conflict, who are you for? I'm for humanity, and I'm for Christ. Those are my two answers. Don't try to rabbit hole me into your evil. Don't do it, because I will not accept that invitation. I won't do it. And especially when I hear reports with my research, which was preposterous. I'm going to tell you something that I learned is probably not out in the mainstream. These people who call them the VDPs, with another set of people, even rainwater, something coming from God, which they tried to trap because they would deny them water facilities and access to water to clean, wash their hair, do their food, cook their food, be sanitary. And because of the denial of the main sanitation water, they regroup themselves. Let's do rain traps. We'll just get the rainwater if they don't want to get us any water because they're so fucking evil and cruel. And these people, they declared it illegal to catch rainwater. How evil is that? That's God's water. How the hell you are going to say who can trap God's tears? Anything, it's his tears. It's his tears and it's his blessing. How the hell are you so damn evil that you're going to do that? That's what that population of people did. And that is the population of people that is running our country. And that is evil. And we got to understand that and reverse that. That shit got to be reversed. And I'll fold my chair.
So we're ending here at 5 p.m. on the Angry Black Men's Book Club. We had a wonderful conversation, and we will have more. We want everybody to subscribe to the Angry Black Men's Book Club on our next to Lone Wolf Firearms, as well as to listen to the Sankofa Radio AM station that Sister Sean is on. You can always reach me. Also, like, share, subscribe, and support. We need MFM. I need some MFM. You know how to send me at $ Dr. Randy Short, or Patreon, Dr. Randy Short, or for Zelle. I have two links for Zelle: wrandyshort@gmail.com, wrandyshort@yahoo.com is Zelle, and a PayPal, which is wrandyshort@gmail.com. You should support this channel. We've only started. If health holds up, as long as I'm okay and in the spirit, we're gonna bring it hard, bring it unfiltered, every single solitary time. I'm looking forward. We will be dropping some pre-recorded sermons. I hope if I don't get it done early, I will put it up on Sunday. It's not the real day for Sabbath, but hell, at least you listen. Please, please, please share, subscribe, donate, support. Anybody that you can't stand, if you have coon associates, if you have sellout black people that you want to irk, don't argue with them. Send them my videos. I hear from people who get cussed out. They get threats and all because of my videos that really get under people's skin. And that's beautiful to me. And I want to be a tool of mental anguish and anxiety to coons. I want coons to be miserable. I want coons to feel hunted like we intelligent black people feel hunted by our liar, scammer traders. We have to make them run. We've got to become the bullies on the black block. We have to make them quiet about their coonery, their treason. As long as it's cool to betray us and to be basically a capo. A capo was a GCP that helped kill other GCPs for the Germans. Read between the lines, folks who are slow. The capos helped. They couldn't even kill all the GCPs without help from other GCPs. There are people in our midst that are helping to destroy us. The low-hanging fruit in the black struggle, the easiest targets for us to pop are our traitors. Everything that you see resistance over the Middle East or anywhere else, Gaza, long before they even were able to fight back, they dealt with their traitors. We're the only people on this earth that allow traitors to strut. We allow traitors to represent us, to mock us, to insult us, and we make them rich. And we're the only people that hate our heroes. We hate our entrepreneurs. We hate our thinkers. You know, as long as we're ass backwards morally and ethically, as long as we're disgruntled, weak, divided, bitchy, petty, backstabbing, lying, degenerate, immoral, crybaby, weakling, antisocial, feministic, fagonistic, pathetic, liar, atheistical coons, or coon light. Most of us are light coons. We should just accept the bullshit that we get from everyone else. Because to be a coon, to be a traitor to your own people's cause, is to invite abuse, to invite destruction. It's as simple as that. When you're against your people having enough food to eat, housing, shelter, you're just a Klansman with a lot of melanin. And there are a lot of Klansmen in Africa. In fact, a lot of slave ships were full of Klansmen Africans, and a lot of Aboriginal Americans sold Aboriginal Americans to white folks for liquor and guns. Nothing's really changed. People selling out for bullshit. When do we cut our losses? The day that you'll get respect from other people is the day that our traitors are afraid to speak for us, afraid to run for public office, afraid to do degenerate things on television and the media for pennies from people who hate their guts, who don't feel like they have to give blowjobs to folks with hairy bellies in the Hollywood Hills. We have the capacity to do that. As long as we refuse to enact and enforce justice on our traitors, we're damned. My suggestion, wonderful film called The Battle of Algiers. Watch it. Look at how the Algerians got on code. Not that I would recommend the same tactics, but at least the mindset. Every people that got free always got their traitors straight. All of our movements are premature as long as we have traitors in the ranks and high positions and we respect them. And I'm speaking to the Greeks, the churches, all of y'all, Masons. If you're for anything other than God and Black people, you're an enemy. Once those people feel ostracism, resentment, and folks start burning their letters and stuff and apologizing and getting right with God and getting right with their people and helping out, and I don't care, Oprah, all of them. I mean, thank God I'm not dictator of Black America. Man, the first thing I would do is swear out a warrant for Oprah Winfrey's arrest. I would pick her up. In fact, I would make her happy by letting her get fat again. Okay. Let me get off of here. You guys take care. Support the Angry Black Men's Book Club. You know how to do that. Dr. Randy Short on Cash App, Dr. Randy Short on Patreon, DrRandyShort at Gmail, and DrRandyShort at Yahoo for Zelle. DrRandyShort for PayPal. Support, support, support. We'll be back. Much more is coming. I can't wait until I get my new sound equipment. We will be going international, I believe, in February. As early as I get my equipment, the sooner we'll go. Love everybody. Be nice to everybody, except for coons. I'm giving a dispensation. Be bad to coons, but be good to everybody that's down. May the Lord bless and keep you. May his face shine upon you and give you peace and lots of MFM. And then you'll really have some peace. I'm out of here. Goodbye, everybody. Stay white.
Thank you, Dr. Short.
Hey, JD, stay on the line, baby. I need to say hi to you.